This is Josie. We're at the United Nations Commission on Population and Development this week. Last night, Kim and I were at an event titled Unlocking the Demographic Dividend, Pathways to Health and Wellbeing for All, which was organized by the United Nations Population Fund, Population Council, the Permanent Mission of Germany, and the African Union's Development Agency. And I got the opportunity to ask this question.
Hello. My name is Josie Lutke. I'm from a Canadian NGO called Campaign Life Coalition. I do have a question, and that is, how do we reconcile the idea of human rights with the killing of innocent human beings through abortion?
David Martinez, the liaison officer for sexual and reproductive health and rights for the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, was the one who responded to my question. And he said that bodily autonomy is a human right, which I actually agree with. But then he said that according to the medical knowledge and evidence, the fetus is not a human. And because the fetus is not a human being, it's not deserving of human rights because only humans can have human rights. And then he said that abortions are going to continue anyway, whether legal or illegal, and that illegal abortions can actually endanger women's lives, as you can see in this clip.
Also, I would like to say that abortion is going to continue happening. The difference is that people from low and middle income countries, people without access to safe abortion, are going to have an unsafe abortion, and probably they are going to die. This is the difference between having low and
After the event, I approached David, I introduced myself, and I asked, what do you mean when you say the fetus isn't a human? I thought maybe there's a language barrier, maybe you're saying that the fetus isn't human in a philosophical sense or a legal sense, because surely as a medical student, you should know better. But he said, no, the evidence, the research shows that the fetus is not a human being, that it has a different sort of body that's not human. It was very strange to me. So I offered him this postcard, and I referred to this study of over 5,000 biologists, and 96% of them agree that life begins at fertilization. So I asked him to look at this study, but he refused to accept the postcard. And I said, you know, it sounds like you're not willing to educate yourself on this issue. But he was adamant, he did not want the postcard. But as I left the room, my colleague Kim was also lined up, and she got to continue the conversation with him.
So after Josie left, I was standing next to her in line, but they didn't know that we were associated with each other because we were sitting separately in the event. So I was holding this, and I showed it to him, and I said, if this isn't a human being, what species is it then? And he said, I don't want to look at that, I'm not having this conversation, and then he left. And it's really quite alarming that future medical professionals are denying basic biology, that they don't even acknowledge that this is a human being, that life begins at fertilization. So I really hope that after seeing this, he will change his heart and his mind on this issue.